Well, this one's definitely going to be a little divisive, and yeah, I got a lot of thoughts about it. So let's get into it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Longlegs, the much-anticipated Nicolas Cage, crazy-fueled, biggest ad campaigns of a movie in forever, Longlegs. This is a movie that is definitely well-made, well-crafted, well-acted, well-shot, meticulously made in very many ways, but also it is not going to be a movie that is going to be for everyone. With that said, what is Longlegs all about? It's a movie that takes place in multiple decades over the span of 20 to 30 years at least, and it's about a serial killer that has existed from that time into the future and has kind of gone on these sprees, and they're not really sure how this serial killer is getting away with it. So they get someone who's a little bit more of a in-tune, neurodivergent caseworker or FBI agent who might be able to see through the cracks that these FBI agents aren't able to see. If you're going to catch a meticulous serial killer, then you need someone that also is kind of meticulous in what they research. And that's where Agent Lee Harker comes in to step in and try to solve the mystery once and for all. And she's trying to solve this mystery while also finding connections possibly to her life, or at least the people around her, until she keeps digging and of course might be caught in the serial killer's web themselves. Will she stop this killing spree, or will she become a victim of her own digging? This movie is directed by Oz Perkins, who's done a lot of different films, including Gretel and Hansel, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, The Blackcoat's Daughter. This is their newest one, which is, I would say, very different than those other films, but you can still see traces of his work in this work. We got stars Micah Monroe, who plays Lee Harker. We got Nicolas Cage in the movie, Blair Underwood, Alicia Witt. All of them are firing on all cylinders in the characters that they were given. Fantastic work here. Although there are some people that have said that they really didn't like Nicolas Cage in this. I have no clue what they're talking about. I think he did a fantastic job. Everyone played their roles very well. I did another video that is comparing Nicolas Cage's freak out stuff, you know, movies that he's been in where he acts really crazy. And as far as this movie goes, it's very different than a lot of those roles. But if you're looking for other movies that are crazy, you know, Nicolas Cage performances, I have a great list of 6 different movies that you might want to check out. They may not be the same as this movie, but they are definitely quality Nick Cage freak out movies. I'll put a link here, and I'll put a link in the description and at the end of the video. This is one of the best ad campaigns that I think we've ever seen in a movie, and I have to applaud it for that, because I don't think we've seen anything as meaningful as, like, you know, maybe like the Blair Witch or possibly like a 9 Inch Nails fucking album. They've also done a really good job of concealing the killer and everything like that. Although I didn't watch every single trailer because I didn't want anything ruined for me, because I just really was excited to see this movie. Now, a lot of people are comparing it to Silence of the Lambs, and I have no idea why. I mean, other than, yeah, there's an agent on a case, but it's completely different, and I don't know why people are getting that. Even the aesthetics and the vibe and the tone and everything is completely different. This is a much more art house kind of film in a way, especially with the vibe in particular. There is a thick, dark, deep atmosphere that's very unsettling. It is not a scary movie. I don't feel like I felt scared. I am definitely unsettled by a lot of the things that happen in this movie. And this is also not a movie that I think is going to be like that shocking. It is a movie that is going to kind of mishmash and play around with a few genres. I won't spoil which those are, because I think that's kind of some of the punch to this movie, even though I was not a huge fan of this. And yes, I unfortunately didn't love the film. I have to give it credit where its strengths are. It's really well shot. I mean, this is beautiful cinematography. The story for me is a little bit lacking, because when I think of movies like this, I think of stuff like Hereditary, these really in-depth, deep cuts into some of the lore. It goes so deep that you could rewatch the movies and find new stuff that you didn't see before. And I think Oz, he does a really good job of trying to add things in this movie, but they don't really necessarily connect in the way that the viewer might want to go back and see, for me, in my particular taste. And there was like all these puzzles and, you know, things that they needed to solve and string these mysteries together. Parker is going to be the one that's going to put it all together, but it felt like so just like it was just done. It didn't really connect the dots in a way that made the viewer feel rewarded, at least for me. And maybe that's just because it's sort of heavy-handed in that sort of crime agent FBI studying a serial killer thing that I would expect that, especially with the ad campaign that they had. You'd think that they would want you to figure this stuff out. But maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it as much, is because I didn't do all the like secret stuff in the ad campaign, which I think you should probably do that in the movie too, though, right? Also, another thing I want to point out is that this movie does have some religious tones to it, and it does things that it just didn't work for me in some respects. And I feel like if you were more of a believer, that it would actually probably benefit you more, but it's still even kind of lackluster in that department. And I'm kind of dodging around this and without trying to say specifically what that thing is, but I just don't feel like it was as dark or deep as I wanted it to there. Again, I'm talking about this lore, this sort of thing. It feels like I wanted to be connected to that, and I wasn't. And it's weird too, because I did like some of the moments in the film, and I did like some of the items that they used to really kind of give the story some extra stuff, but I feel like it was underutilized. Like some of those like really cool things that were in the film could have really been pushed on and used to make it even more creepy, more unsettling. It's hard to explain without really spoiling it. Inevitably, there's going to be some people that say, oh, you just like the stupid mainstream movies or something like that. You're wrong. I love all kinds of stuff, and I've watched anything from Suspiria to Lynch movies to, you know, some of his slowest works to some of David Cronenberg's. I could give you a list of different movies that you would probably think are boring as fuck, but you know, it's just the way things are. Some people like stuff aesthetically, it pleases them in ways that I can't explain or that they can't explain, and this just wasn't 100% for me. And believe me, I love aesthetics. I mean, I'm a huge fan of like how things are proportioned and look. I mean, there's no doubt that this movie has that. But I also feel like a movie needs to have just a little bit more to it. It's just my particular taste. And this one's going to be really tough for some people to watch. And I think it's going to be very boring for some people, not because it's not a good film or a well-made film, but there is just things in this movie that drag. And they're doing it intentionally to, of course, have an atmosphere and to make you feel this thickness about it. And some of the sound design in it is really good. Some of the score in this movie is fantastic. Some of the shots that they do, really unsettling stuff that's just kind of there. This movie does a really good job of blending those genres, like I said, so it's sort of leading you as a viewer to the water, but you may or may not drink that by the end, if that makes sense. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him love it, right? So, or drink, that's what they say, but you get what I'm saying. Personally, I think that it is a fantastically well-made film, and there's this sort of style about it that people who like Robert Eggers films will probably enjoy, although I don't think the depth in this one is as much as those films. It'll seem a little bit more obligatory, but it's a fantastically well-made film. It just was not for me, and I think a lot of people are going to struggle with the expectations on this film. Like I said, it's not a Silence of the Lambs film. I wouldn't compare it to any other detective film like Seven. This is a different vibe about it. This particular movie just was not for me, and I love Nicolas Cage in it. I've never seen him act that way in a movie before. Like, he really tuned into the role. Should be applauded, you know, but the movie as a whole, I have to weigh out all the pieces, and honestly, I'm really at like 6, maybe 6.5 on this one. If you are really into aesthetics, you may really like this, but for me, I really wish it could have gone deeper, further, more crazy a little bit. I don't need it to be stupid, but there are going to be some people that think the acting is a little too out there. It is different. I think they were just going for some just really weird language, talking. The characters say some pretty disturbing, unsettling things that make you go, what the fuck? But yeah, I don't know. It just was not for me. And maybe, maybe if I see it again later on, it'll be something more for me. It's obvious that it's crafted well. It's just not going to be for everybody. And I'm happy that if you love the movie, I think that's fantastic. And if you like what I like, maybe you won't love this film. I would love to hear what you guys think. Hit the like and subscribe button down below. And as always, long live the void.
Beyond